Hello? TNG, be quiet. Teacher, you have to zoom in. I can't see anything.
All right, good morning, everybody. Um, if you could hear me, type in the chat. Good morning. I need to see everybody commenting in the chat. That is how we're going to communicate, okay? So I don't expect everybody to put their mics on to share answers or to respond. So I need you to let me know that you can see and that you can hear. In the meantime, I'm going to try to see if I could check in with everybody else. Only 8 persons here. I'm not gonna take registration right now. I'm gonna see if I could get everybody else on, but let me just see who's here for now. All right. So let me see who responded. So I see Mariska. Who is ML? I see Kia, I see Kerdanje, I see Jazaro, I see Alicia, I see Shadania.
Teacher ML is Molluska.
Merluska, okay, no problem. So Molluska, if you could hear me, please type in the chat. Good morning. Tiandre, also type in the chat. We're gonna start in a few, okay?
Teacher, you have to zoom in your screen because I cannot see anything.
No problem. When we start, I will. Can y'all message your classmates and ask them what's happening? No, we are required to send the register to your year head, and persons who miss class without a valid reason will be contacted by the school. So if you know you have somebody in your class and they're not here, please check in with them. Based on what I'm seeing in the chat, most people are receiving my messages. And nobody messaged me that they have problems signing in. Kanaje in here? All those who just log in, please type in the chat so I can take your registration. Rihanna. Is Shayanda in here? Let me see. Only one person for the day has communicated that they're not going to be able to make it with a valid reason. So let me just send a message and then we're going to start, okay? So make sure y'all have your books. Make sure you have everything that you need. Get water, a snack, anything that you think you're going to want during the class, because it's going to be a lengthy class since we only meeting for one day in the week. So what time it is? It's almost 12 o'clock. So we kind of behind already. What did I touch? Tevanique, okay, I see. Morning.
Morning.
Do better, who better, you better. Been around like hella, propellers. Wanna know who you with? Don't tell them. Come on, fellas. That ain't none of your biz. Got on your body suit, you know I'm on your ass today. Would you let me my ass today? She know my state nothing but magic, babe. I be swinging it back and forth to you in your casket, babe. Girl, you on my best side. Bet she from the west side. I do wanna know, don't you sugarcoat. Say it all if you want. Could you tell me like it is? Pretty little fears. Music to my ear. Say it loud, say it proud. You want it more? We open door, hit the couch, then the floor. I cut it up like a scissor, like a love. There's so much shit we can do. You free to say whatever, baby, if you asking me. No limit when I'm in it, got a masterpiece. I'm hoping I don't have a fast release. Got me focused, get my masterpiece.
All right, so let's get started. Just some ground rules before we begin. Each person, you guys are required to respond via the chat. Everybody could see, right? Once everybody can see and everybody can hear, I would prefer if you do not put on your mic unless I specifically ask you a question, just to avoid any chaos. I will be taking note of who are responding and who are not responding, because I'm not going to ask you guys to put on your camera. I just need to know that you're here and you're following. Okay? So to begin, let's just say everybody type ready in the chat and then we're going to start. So just type ready and we're going to begin. I see we have 11 persons, which is not bad. So I see Kia, Maluska, Kerdanje, Tiandre. I'm watching and waiting to see everybody. Okay. All right, awesome. So first thing I want to start off with, I have to be honest with you guys. Last term was not good at all. It wasn't good for a lot of reasons. So I hope that this term we could give our best effort. You guys passed maths solely because I only chose the marks that were okay. If I were to use all the marks, the truth is majority of the class would have failed because persons failed to do homework. A lot of persons did not submit any homework. You guys really struggle with revision. But this is not for everybody, because I must say there were a few persons who have definitely shown that they're trying. So I just want to say thank you, keep that up. And for everybody else, I hope you can give the same effort, okay? Maths is probably the most important subject you have to do. And regardless if I'm your teacher next year or not, I'm hoping that you guys are able to function and do well in the subject area and write it for CXC. All right, so let me get started. So our topic that we're going to do this term, and I hope that we could mash this out quickly because we're kind of behind in general, is statistics. And as we know, statistics deal with what? Data, information. Now in second form, we did some basic things, but as of third form, we have to start the CXC syllabus. So obviously we're now going to take the information we learned from second form and take it to our next level. Before I continue, is the music in the background disturbing or it's okay? So let me know if it's okay, if it's too loud, if you prefer me to take it off or you want me to leave it on. Okay, no problem. All right. So some of the things we need to touch base on is some words that you need to be aware of. Now, I am going to send you guys this document. So I'm going to let you know what I need you to write so you don't have to write everything, okay? Some things you might have to write out in your book after, and I will let you know what those things are. So as we know, statistics, let me go to the side. Statistics is the topic that deals with data. And we remember we had this thing where we were bouncing the ball. Anybody remember that? When we had to bounce the ball in, I think it was what, 15 seconds and see how much times we could get the ball bounced in 15 seconds. Anybody remember that when we was in the board building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Remember I said, don't put on your mics, use the chat because it might be a bit disturbing. Okay. So there we had an activity, and what we call the activity in statistics is an event. We call that an event. And so we recorded a specific type of data. And what you should remember is that data is another word for information. And the information we collected was just the number of bounces. So that was the information for that event. Now, what I want you guys to take note of is that there's different types of data. So before we get into that, we just need to remember statistics deals with collecting data, organizing the data, presenting that data, and analyzing that data. So quick question, do we all understand what these 4 words mean? So do you understand what it means to collect, what it means to organize, what it means to present, what it means to analyze? So everybody, let me know. I'm watching. I see 2 persons respond, Shadanya and Merluska. What about everybody else? Okay, so just to, I'm still looking. So I expect everybody to respond while I continue to explain. So when we collect data, collecting data is easy because if somebody made 4 bounces, you write down 4. Somebody made 3, you write 3. If somebody had 6, you write 6. So it's just about writing down the information. So that's what we mean by collect. Organize now means that we need to put it in an order. There's some ways we could organize it. Sorry. And organizing it means presenting it in a certain way. So what are some ways we could represent or present data? Anybody remember? You have tables. Another way is by using diagrams. So that could be what? A pie chart. Anybody remember any other way to represent data or present data? What's another way? We have what? A line graph. Excellent. I see somebody's Tiandra said tally chart. Anybody else? So a tally chart. Excellent. Bar graph. Excellent job, guys. There's one more. Anybody ever hear about the histogram? So you have a histogram, and I'm going to draw them out so that you can have an idea of how they look. And there's also a pictograph. So what I need you guys to do for me in your books, I need you to write down this list because these are the things we have to be able to draw. We have to be able to analyze. So this is presenting data. This is how you present data. Presentation of data. When you're finished, I want you to type in the chat, done. So copy down this list. So you're going to write presentation of data. You're going to write the topic first of all. And the topic is statistics. And even before you write the topics, I hope you know that you have to head up your books just like how we would in class. So what's the date? Oh no, today's not Monday. So Tuesday, the 11th of January, 2022. You have to put mathematics, and I hope you guys have your maths book, okay? Because I'm really tired of y'all writing your notes in all types of other books. So you should have your date, you should have mathematics, and you know what I want y'all to do for me to put online. So we could remember this was what we did when we were online, okay? Okay, so Shadanya is done, excellent job. So while y'all write that, let's just take a quick look at what some of these things look like. Everyone should remember what a table looks like, right? Then let's remember how a pie chart looks. What shape does a pie chart have? Let me see if y'all remember. So for those who are finished, you could probably respond while the others are writing. Yes, it is represented by a circle. And then we usually separate the circle into sections, right? So this is the pie chart. This is how the pie chart look. So what instruments we need to draw a pie chart? What are the things that we need to draw a pie chart? Because these are things we need to remember as well, because remember we did learn how to construct or how to make a pie chart. And when I say instruments, I mean what materials do we need in your geometry set? Excellent. We need a compass. We need what else? What's also very important. So you need a compass. We need a ruler. Excellent. But something very important we're forgetting. What is that? It starts with a P.
Protractor?
Yes, we need a pencil too, but the actual instrument is called a protractor. And we should remember what the protractor does. The protractor gives us our angles, right? So everybody with me so far? The next one we have is a line graph. And we should remember how a line graph look. We need to draw two axes. Anybody remember which axis is the horizontal line? What do we call the horizontal line? Is it the X or the Y? Excellent. So this is the X axis. And so the vertical one is the Y axis. And whenever we draw a line graph, we need to plot some points. And when we plot the points, we use our ruler to connect the points. Sorry about that. Sometimes you could get a straight line and sometimes you would get like a zigzag line. Okay. So that's how a line graph would look. Just a quick reminder. Then we have our tally chart. Our tally chart is just like a table, but what is specific about that table? So you would have the event or whatever you're talking about, the tally, and your frequency. What we should remember about the frequency just tells us how often something happened, how frequent something happened. So let's look at an event. Let's look at the number of goals somebody scored. So suppose I say I got some people who score 0 goals. And I say I put 3 strokes. What number should I put here? The number 3, because that's how we represent 3. So you put the 3 strokes for tally and the number 3 for the frequency. I have a question for you guys though. Suppose I tell you 6 persons scored 1 goal. How would I represent that as a tally? Do I do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I represent 6 like that? If you agree, tell me if you agree or you disagree. Everybody are watching because these are basic things that we need to remember. Okay, I see some persons responding. I ain't see Kerdanja type yet. So some people saying they agree, some people saying they disagree. Remember, we need to be able to determine if we agree or disagree, because we make these mistakes often. Okay, so let me tell you the answer. This is incorrect, because what we remember, or what we should remember, is that we have to represent 5 in a specific way. So if you didn't know before, you didn't remember, let me show you. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And how do I do 5? The stroke across. Everybody see that? So this would be 5. And so 6 would be 1 extra by itself. Everybody with me? So in your books, I have a challenge for you. I need you to tell me, I'm going to draw some strokes and I want you to count it for me, okay? So we're going to do a quick challenge in your books. Unfortunately, you know, I can't see your books. So you would have to try to communicate with me, okay? So we're going to put tally. We're just focusing on the tally and the frequency for now. So draw this table for me in your books. Let me use my straight line. Now, let me just tell y'all now, and this is going to be for every single subject you're going to do this week. Each teacher have to collect 2 marks before school open based on what we do on the online classes. So I'm going to tell you the 3 things I'm going to be giving grades for. You will be getting grades for coming to class on time. So while y'all draw this, let me just be straight up with you guys, because I feel like we need to put some reward systems. So this is your rewards and mark allocations. So these are some of the things I'll be giving marks for. Being on time. We're going to have class this week, Tuesday, and next week, Tuesday, same time, 11:30. So if you come to class on time, 5 marks. Participation, 20 marks. So if I see certain people responding consistently, 20 on 20. If I hardly see you respond, 0 on 20. Obviously, there's a scale. So if I see you respond once or twice, I will give you the marks accordingly. Then there will be a homework assignment. The homework is going to be on 40. And the next one is an online quiz. But the online quiz is going to be after the 2 classes, okay? It's mostly going to be 30 multiple choice questions. So these are the marks that I'm going to be collecting from the online. So to me, this is an easy pass, because you come to class on time, you get 5 marks, boom. You participate, 23 marks, boom. Everybody with me? And participation means when I ask a question, I expect you guys to respond, all right? Okay, bless up yourself, bless up yourself. All right, so let's get back to it. Ready for the challenge? Are you guys finished drawing this table in your books? And honestly, when we get back to school, I will be collecting everybody's books to see if you wrote down the things I actually asked you to write down. So that's also important, okay? That's free marks as well. So there's no reason anybody should come out to these 2 weeks failing, because you just do what you're supposed to do and you're good to go, okay? So hurry up if you're not finished drawing the table, because now we're going to start the challenge. So sometimes I'm going to give you the tally and you need to write the frequency. Sometimes I'm going to give you the frequency and you have to write the tally. Let me see what type of music I want to play in the meantime. All right, ready? So the first one, I'm going to give you the frequency. So draw the frequency of 10. When you've done, tell me done. I'm looking to see how fast y'all finish. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Top 10, we're doing top 10 again, eh? 7, 8, 9. Nobody else. All right, time up. So I'm gonna draw it and you're gonna tell me the truth. Be honest with me because I need to know how strong or weak you are, okay? So let's go. How did you draw this? Did you draw it like this? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me know if you got it correct. Yeah? All right, next one. All right, so let's go. We're gonna move a little faster. So this time I'm gonna give you a tally and you need to tell me what the frequency is. Go. Type it in the chat when you get your answer. That's 1. Top 10. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shadanya, check your answer again. 9, 10. Okay, everybody that sent an answer, you guys are correct. Very good. So that's 13. Very good. So the next one I need you to do for me is 7. So you're gonna do 7. You're gonna do 21. And then you're gonna do this one for me. So you don't have to type this one for me. I just need you to do it in your books. Y'all done? Excellent job. Excellent, excellent job. If anybody by chance not feeling well, let me know, okay? So that if you only could just probably lie down and look, that's okay with me, but you need to let me know, okay? I hope everybody's okay, by the way. It's been a stressful year, but I hope 2022 is a lot better for us. Why you make it so complicated? Off the drain, we concentrate. All right, so the one that I want, so this is what you should have. So if you don't have these things, make a correction, okay? So for 7, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 21 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. And just for everybody, what would be the answer for this last one down here? What did you guys get? 24? Excellent job, guys. Excellent job. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 10, tell me the truth. How much you get out of 10? Okay, so that means moving forward, we shouldn't have any issues with tallying, okay? So we're gonna move right along. So we did so far the pie chart, line graph. We know how a tally chart look. Now I'm gonna draw two things and you're gonna tell me which one is which. But that will last forever. It's cold outside. When you walk up my life, when you walk up my life. Keeping in mind, anytime you're drawing a graph, you have to label your axis, okay? And as we mentioned before, we have two axes. The x-axis, and which runs horizontally, and the y-axis. Okay, everybody with me so far? All right, so now I'm gonna just sketch something. Let's pretend those lines are straight. So my first question to you is, are these two graphs the same type of graph? Yes or no? Are these two graphs the same type of graphs? What do you think? They're the same thing? Don't be afraid to tell me, okay? Even if you're wrong, that's okay, because that's how we learn. Okay, so just for you, for remembering, they are not the same type of graph. One of them is the bar graph. The other is the histogram. So let's look at the one on the left. Which one you think this one is? Is this the bar graph or is this the histogram? So now that we realize they are not the same, because we should be able to look and see why they aren't the same. Exactly, this is the bar graph. And so this one is what we call what? The histogram. This is something we cannot forget, okay? Histogram. Sorry for my writing. The thing that I'm using a bit challenging to write with sometimes. What you should keep in mind is that the bar graph has space in between each of the bars, whereas the histogram, there are no spaces in between the bars. Everybody see that? So you have to take notice. Usually too, each bar must be the same distance, even though it looks like that, you know, my thing looking a little bent up, that's okay. But what you should remember is that each bar has to be the same width or thickness, and usually it's 1 centimeter. So when you're drawing it, you have to make sure you go across 1 centimeter. Same thing for the histogram. Each bar should be the same distance or width, but because I just did a sketch, it looks like that. All right, so let's go down. So we do histograph. Now, when we come to pictograph, pictograph is pretty simple. We use pictures to represent certain things. So in this one, I'm going to draw some stick people to represent some information. So I'm gonna call this Monday, I'm gonna call this Tuesday, and I'm gonna call this Wednesday. At the bottom of every pictograph, there's a key. A key tells you what the diagram represents. And from here, every stick man represents what? So our key here indicates how to read the graph. So it tells us here that each stick man represents 5 persons. So my first question to you, this pictograph talks about the number of persons who went to the movies on these days. How many people went to the movies on Monday? Excellent job. So you see how simple it is so far? So far. So these are the basic things we need to be able to do before we go on to the more complicated things. So everybody who said 10, excellent job. I see you. That's correct. So how much would be Tuesday? Excellent job. That is correct. 15. And so Wednesday would be how much? Very good. 5. No, sometimes, suppose I did this, right? Check this out. Suppose I change it from 5 to 4. And suppose I did this. Sorry, my pen just froze a little bit there. What do you think Wednesday is now? Let me see who thinking. What would Wednesday be now? What do you realize going on with Wednesday now? We're not thinking then. We're not thinking. So let's take it back down. We thinking. Some of y'all panic. I say one thing, y'all change y'all answer. Be confident, guys. Be confident. So everybody, let me know if you want to change your answer. So I'm giving everybody a chance. You want to stick with your answer or you want to change it? So this is your opportunity. Is it? Exactly. Very good. So you want to hear what the answer is? The answer is 6. How do we know it's 6? Look at the picture. You have 1.5. We know 1 represents a whole 4. And half would be half of what? Half of 4, right? And what is half of 4? Half of 4 is 2. And so 4 plus 2 would give us 6. Excellent job for everybody who was able to see that. For those who didn't see it and didn't get it correct, I hope you understand. So Tiffany, you understand? I don't know why you gave me that face here. Everybody understand? Let me know before we continue. Everybody okay with this? These are things we need to pay attention to. And sometimes they may give you like ice cream. They might give you, let's say they want to do a pictograph of the number of buses needed to carry a certain amount of students, or pizza slices were sheer. It doesn't matter what they give you. Pay attention to what they give you. If they tell you 1 represents 6 and they say half of 6, you know half of 6 is 3. All right. So good to go so far. So let me keep it moving. So let me ask y'all a question. I know we don't like online learning because it's not the same as face-to-face, but is everybody okay? Is everybody learning and understanding and not suffering? Let me know if you're okay. All right. I try my best to make sure we stay engaged and everything is okay. So let's go into the notes. Now, this is something we did not do in second form because we weren't required to know this, but this is something you have to know. Data information is put into 2 categories. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. As we realize, data is the information we collect, right? So anything we collect, so you see here, data is a collection of facts or information. So that could be measured values, numbers, words, observations, all that kind of stuff. There are 2 types of data. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. Because both of them start with a Q, people is confuse them all the time. So I'm going to show you a trick of how to remember the difference between the 2. So the 2 is qualitative data. And what does qualitative sound like? Quality, right? And then you have quantitative data. What does quantitative means? Quantitative sounds like quantity. And which one sounds like it deals with numbers? Which one sounds like the one that deals with numbers? The qualitative or the quantitative? Yes.
I can't see nothing.
You
My
can't see
screen
nothing?
black. My screen black.
Okay, let me just stop and share again. Anybody else having that issue? What about now?
Still light black.
TJ, leave this and come back.
Okay.
Yeah, go out and come back. Anybody else having that issue? Everybody else could see. Everybody else could see, let me know. Okay, good. So one of the things I want you to be able to do is be able to think on the spot. If you see these two words, you had to be like, okay, I can't remember. Just remember quantity means numbers. And so whenever you have data, sometimes the data describes information. So for example, the color of something is qualitative, right? So something is brown, something is blue, something is black. That describes how the item looks. But if I say I have, how much siblings do we have in the class? The number of siblings, obviously talking about quantity. So that would be quantitative data. Everybody understand the difference? So qualitative is describing versus quantitative, which deals with numbers. So we're gonna look at some examples, right, of the two. So let's look at some examples. So we have this dog. What do we know about the dog? Let's look at some of the qualitative information. The dog is black and brown. You see, describing words are used here for qualitative. He has long hair. Qualitative information. He has a lot of energy. So these are the things we are describing when it comes to the physical aspects of the dog. What are some quantitative? Quantitative is that he got 4 legs. He got 2 brothers. He weighs a certain amount. He is a certain height. But what do you realize here? On the quantitative, there's 2 other types. Quantitative could be broken down further to discrete and continuous. How do we determine the 2? Discrete is when it's just a whole number. So you see, the dog's got 4 legs. That's just 4. See, it's discrete. It's straight to the point. Continuous means that it can change. Because what do we know? A dog could get smaller, it could lose weight, and it could gain weight. So that is why it's not standard, it's not fixed. Can he grow a next pair of leg? No. So that's why 4 is discrete, because it's an unchangeable value. Whereas continuous can fluctuate. It could go up or it could go down. Everybody with me so far in terms of understanding between the discrete and continuous? Same thing with the height. A dog grows. So the height will never stay consistent. It will always continue to change. Okay, you can put your mic on and ask your question.
So teacher, if one of the brothers die.
Okay, that is true, but guess what? What did he, because he brother died means he never existed? If I have a sibling, right? And my sibling died, that doesn't change the fact that I have a brother. You see what I mean? I would always have a brother, whether he dies or not. So that's an excellent question. Everybody see what I'm saying?
Teacher, may I understand?
Which part you, Tiandra, remember, you see, when you tell me things like that, you have to be specific. You just can't ball out. May understand. What part don't you understand? So I can explain again.
Between qualitative and quantitative, yeah.
Okay, so again, when we have information, we could break it down into 2 types of information. We could describe something using words like tall, big, how something looks. When you describe it, you're talking about the qualitative information. But if you look at how much it have of something, what does quantitative sound like? Quantitative talks about quantity. And when we look at the word quantity, what does quantity mean? How much something have, like, so the number. So qualitative is describing features, whereas quantitative give you the number of that item. You understand? So we're gonna look at some examples. So I'm gonna come to the side and we're gonna go through some examples to see if we can clarify. So before we do that, let's go back up. So you realize at the top, we have all data. All data is then broken down into 2 types, qualitative and quantitative. One of the things you need to remember, once you see numbers, which one it is? Anytime you see a number, which one you know you're going to be dealing with automatically. Quantitative. If you're dealing with words, descriptive words, words that describe the item, that's where you know it is qualitative. So let's do a quick class challenge. So this is something I'm going to be paying attention to mark for participation. Y'all ready? All right, so let's go. First one, number of toes. Is this qualitative or quantitative? Or watch in the chat, let's go. That's 1, 2. With the swing, this very moment I bring, put it on everything. I will retire with the ring, and I'm with the crown. Yes, I'm watching. Yes, me, but I didn't do it all alone. Young Money raised me. Excellent job, everybody. It is quantitative. Moving forward, just type these two. Type qual and quant, because I know it might be hard typing out those whole words because they're so long. Okay, excellent job. Next one. So that was number 1. Number 2, color of shoes. Let's go. What is that? What type of data is that? I know this night just remind me of everything they deprived me of. Put your drinks up. It's a celebration every time we link up. Everything that we think of, greatness is what we on. I wish that I. Excellent job. Excellent job. Very good. 2 more. And in this moment, I just feel so alive. Alive. This is a trick question, eh? Shoes in your closet. Think about it. Is it quantitative or qualitative? We ain't get the memo. Y'all sure? Excellent job. And you know why I really am proud of you guys too for understanding this part, because the truth is you can have different color shoes, right? But I ain't talk about the color. If I had put in color, you know, it gone qualitative, because now we're looking at a physical aspect. So even though I did not put the number of, if we're going to look at the shoes in your closet, what else we're going to talk about? And how much shoes in there? So excellent job for identifying that it is still quantitative. All right, so I'm happy to hear that we understand the difference. Now, let's see if we could understand discrete and continuous. Keeping in mind, both discrete and continuous are both quantitative because they still deal with numbers, right? But discrete is always what type of number? Discrete is always a whole number, whereas continuous is generally always what? A decimal number. All right, realize that? So what is an example of discrete? Discrete would be number of parents. Obviously, you can always have 2 parents, right or wrong? Whereas continuous would be the height of a plant. Height of a plant, because plants grow and sometimes they even shrink. When they're dying, they shrivel up. So we see here that the height of any object that grows, once you are alive, you will grow. So anytime you deal with weight, height, even your grades, let's be real, your grades would be a continuous, but it depends because grades could be continuous or discrete. Let me show you why. If I give you 3%, 3% is discrete here, but if I give you 3.5, 3.5 says what? And based on what type of grades you have, I just want you to be aware, you could have a grade for a test. A grade for a test would be discrete because can the grade change for the test? You don't get it. But what can change? What can change is your average for the term, because there are different entities that contribute to your average. So your average could go up and your average could go down, right or wrong? Everybody with me? So once you understand the difference between these two, you're good to go. So we now understand that we have data. So let me just go back to the top quickly. We have data, and data is broken down to qualitative and quantitative. And then quantitative is broken down into discrete and continuous. As you see here, it says discrete data can only take certain values. So that means one thing you know for a fact is discrete is always whole numbers. Whereas continuous can take any value in a range. So that means it could be 3, it could be 3.5, it could be 3.9. It falls within a range. Okay, so what I need to know before we continue into the diagrams, out of 10, how do you feel about everything we've done so far? So 10 would be you understand everything, you feel good about everything that we've done. And then 0 would be if Ms. V may understand not one thing you say this morning. Are watching? All right, I'm gonna take this opportunity to take register again. I'm gonna call your name. I'm gonna call your name once I have you written down on the register. I don't have my physical register because it's in school, so I have to write out everybody. She's a runner, she's a track star. She gonna run away when it gets hard. She can take the pain, she can get so give me a quick minute.
DJ, please scroll up.
Want me to scroll up? Oh, so here's what I need y'all to do in the meantime. Sorry, I need y'all to write out this part for me. The definition of quantity, discrete and continuous. So draw this diagram. Draw everything to the top here. So copy down all of this in your books, please. While I take the register. Let me know when y'all done. All right, so these are the persons I have on the register. Adriana, Shardania, Kurdanji, Alicia, Jazara, Kia, Mariska, Maluska, Sanjay, Shadiman, Tevini, and Tiandri. There were 2 other persons here. I don't know where they gone, but nobody messaged me. I think Kananja is not feeling good. So I'll at least take note that he messaged me about not feeling well. So again, when y'all finish, let me know that y'all done by typing done in the chat. Okay, good job, Shadanya. Thank you for letting me know. Just waiting for everybody else to let me know where they at, where they at. Merluska is also finished. All right, I see you guys. I see you guys. Just waiting for a few more persons to let me know. Okay. I hope y'all ain't lying to me, eh? I will come for y'all. I hope y'all telling me the truth and y'all actually wrote it down. Okay. Anybody still writing? Let me know. I think some persons are just looking on for today. Please note that even if you're just looking on for today because you're not feeling well, that you try to at least copy down the information before school opens, okay? Get somebody to send you a picture and copy down the notes. All right, so I think we did a good job with that so far. And so now we're gonna move into drawing line graphs. Now, for now, we're not gonna go into details because we need to do it on graph paper. So I'm letting everybody know now when school open, you have 2 weeks. So I don't expect any excuses. You have to come to school with graph paper because I have to teach you how to plot graphs. This is an extremely important skill because you have to learn it in not just statistics, but also in algebra and in functions, relations, and graphs. That's something that I think we should be starting this term, hopefully. But if not, you're gonna learn it in fourth form. So it's something you need to be able to do with a very strong and ease. So everybody with me, buy your graph paper. And to be honest, there's a specific type of graph paper that you need. Let me see if I could find one to show you. Because, you know, some graph paper have some weird lines. So let me see if I could find one. Let me see what this is here. Okay, this is oh, yeah, can see that's good? Let me zoom in. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. When you look at when you go to buy a graph paper, what you need to first make sure is that this is how the lines them are separated. So you have these boxes, and these boxes is usually 1 centimeter wide. And inside the box, each box, there should be 5 small boxes. Everybody with me? It got some of them, got a bunch of small lines, but you can't tell the difference between this box here. You have to be able to see this box here clearly. This one here. You must be able to see this box. If when you pick up a graph book and you don't see this box, do not buy it because CXC, and we need to start practicing for CXC when we plotting graphs. For example, so I'm going to use this page to show you guys some information about graphs. Okay, y'all ready? Okay, so let's say even before, this is not just for line graph, this is for every single graph. When you are drawing a graph, you need to understand that you need to start off with scales. What does a scale mean? A scale means that every box have a specific number. It represents a specific number. But before we even get to that, what must we always draw first? For us to have a graph, we need two things. Anybody remember what those two things is? You need your axis. And how much axis do we have? Me ain't drawing it until y'all tell me. How much axis do we need to draw for us to plot any graph? Doesn't matter if it's a line, a curve. Excellent job, Shadanya. Excellent job, Merluska. It is 2. You're gonna always have a horizontal one, and I hope y'all see where I draw it. It's always to the bottom. And what must we always do? We must always label it. So x-axis. You actually get a mark, I think it's a half mark, for just drawing this line and labeling it correctly. So we have our x-axis, and then we have our y-axis. So that's always the first thing that you do. You don't do nothing, you don't draw nothing until you draw these 2 lines and you label them. Everybody with me so far? Good to go? Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Okay, let's look at the scales. So before I show you the different types, let me explain to you what I mean by a scale. Now, obviously, you have 2 separate axes. So that means that the x-axis could have one scale and the y-axis could have a completely different scale. In this example, I'm going to give them the same exact scale. I took off the music for a specific reason so y'all could follow me. So watch this now. I'm going to put 0 here. So that means in this point is nothing. So I'm going to focus for now on the x-axis. So let me just zoom in so we can all see a little better. I am going to separate my axis every box. Anybody remember what each box represent? Each box represent 1 centimeters. That's the first thing everybody needs to confirm that they remember. So once I put a line after each major box, I know each space represents 1 centimeters. Everybody with me so far? Okay, good. Now I am going to assign a value for every centimeter. I am going to say each centimeter represents 2. So what does that mean? What am I going to be counting in? I am going to, for every single dash, I'm going to be counting in 2. So the first one going to be 2. What would be the second one? Let me see if we're thinking. Excellent. 4. So that means we're counting in 2. So look at it. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Everybody see that? So this scale for the x-axis, and they're going to always tell you, they're going to say the scale for the x-axis is this, the scale for the y-axis is that. So the scale for the x-axis is 1 centimeter for 2. Or they may give you a different wording, but all you need to understand is that every centimeters you have 2 units.
Miss V.
And this is, yes, Lovey.
Tianja fell asleep.
He fell asleep?
Mm-hmm.
How you know that?
Cause just come in his bedroom.
Who's this?
He tell me bring some water for him. He brother.
Wake him up for me now.
Okay.
Thank you, love. I really appreciate Tiandre, brother. Big up yourself. Give him a little scuff for me there, please. Come here, know how he gonna drop sleep. Everybody with me so far, though? Everybody else with me so far? And he dropped sleep on the most important part. because this is something you need to understand before we do anything else. So here I gave you your first scale. The first scale for the x-axis was 1 centimeters, represent 2 units. Now, I am going to give you a different scale for the y-axis, and I want you to tell me if you understand how to label it. So let's do that one. So for the y-axis, I am going to give you 2 centimeters for 1 unit. So let me see if you all really understand. So let me zoom out. How do you realize before I put the numbers, what did I do? I mark out each dash. So for the y-axis, how do I put my dashes? Do I put my dashes by like this, like what I did before? Agree or disagree? Look at the scale. The scale say every 2 centimeters is 1. So do you agree with what I have here for the y-axis? And you need to think and you need to decide.
Teacher. I
Tiandre.
lost.
You see why? You see, even online, you got to be like this. In class, you just give me trouble. And online, you give me trouble too. You're going to fall asleep and you ain't even going to apologize for falling asleep. You're just come on and say, you lost. I'm not going back over it. I'm not going back over it. Because you're wasting everybody's time. I'm not going back over it. So it's either you pick up where you pick up or you figure it out on your own, because this is ridiculousness. And I'm not going to let you affect my energy. So I'm moving right along. So everybody talk to me. Do you agree or disagree? Keep it in mind. What is the 1 centimeter and 2 centimeter tells us? It tells us how to put our markings. So for the y-axis is 1 centimeter. So we know it's for every single box. But for the y-axis, it gives us for 2 centimeters. So that means that it's every 2 you need to put a mark. So let's go. This is 1. So this is 2. So that's my first mark. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. 2. 2. Everybody see that now? Everybody see how the markings go? How to break down your axis? So the first axis, it was every 1 centimeter. But for the y-axis, how much did I give you? I give you every 2 centimeters. So now let's look at how do we label it. So for the x-axis, I told you 2 units for every 1 centimeters. But look at the y-axis. It's 1 unit. So let me ask you all a question. What number do I put by the first mark? Take a guess. Take a try. What number will I put at the first mark? Kia says 1. What about everybody else? What y'all think? Okay. Now check this out. What did they say every 2 units represent? Look it right here. Keep it in mind. Let's go back to the x-axis. For the x-axis, every 1 centimeters was 2. Look at it. Y'all see that? So every 1 was 2. So this was 1. So I put 2. This is another 1. So I put what's after 2? 4. This is 1. So I put 6. Here, what is the x-axis scale? Every 2 centimeters, what should you write? Look at right here. So instead of 2, what should I write here, guys? So fix it quick. Is it 2? Should I write 2 here? Did they tell us 2 units or 1? So it's going to be 1. Every 2 is 1. So that means the next 2, so this is 2, so I put 1 unit. What would I put for the next 2 units? It's going to be 2, because what are we writing every time we go up? We add in 1. For the x-axis, we were adding 2 because it's 2 units. But for the y-axis, what is the unit? 1. Everybody see what I'm trying to show you? So let me zoom out. So this would be what? What would be the next number then? What are we counting in? 3, 4, 5, 6. So what you should pick up from this is that the unit tells you what number you're counting in. Are you counting in ones? Are you counting in twos? You know, you could count in threes and fives and tens. Everybody see what I'm trying to show you? We're going to do another one. But let me know if you kind of get it, even if you kind of get it a little bit. Kinda. Okay, we're gonna do another example with two different types of scales. Okay, so let's just scrap everything. Let's go again. So step one, what is step one again? So I'm gonna ask you, so this is the activity.
Label your axis.
So I'm gonna ask you to draw a graph. Draw a graph. We're gonna do another one. So the first one is just to introduce you. So now it's for us to clarify. So draw a graph with a scale, with scales. And again, you're gonna have two separate scales, a Y scale and an X scale. Okay? So don't worry, guys, I'm gonna go through it for you. On the X axis, I'm going to give you 1 centimeter to represent 5 units. And for the Y axis, actually, let me change it up a little bit. Let me say 2 centimeters is 5. Okay? Y axis, I'm going to say 2 centimeters again, 2 centimeters, but instead of 5, I'm gonna say 10 units. Okay, y'all ready to try? Let me know if you're ready to try. Yes, Sanjay? If you ain't get it at all, that's okay. We're gonna go over it again. Sandra, talk to me. You wanna ask me something before I begin?
Yes, miss. If you start from 10, miss, that means you have to start from like 10, 20 go up, miss.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh. Okay, so let's go through it. So before we even draw anything, what we have to look at, we ain't gonna look at the scales yet. I just want us to focus on what we need to do with this actual diagram. You got your graph paper. You shouldn't start doing nothing else until you do what? Until you draw your axis, right? So we're gonna always start off with the X. It really don't matter, but it's always safe. It's always safe to do your X first. So we do the X, right? And remember, what do we always do? We always label. So this is your X axis. And then we're gonna do our Y. And then what do we do next? We label Y axis. Okay, everybody with me so far? Let me know if you're with me so far. So Kia said yes. What about everybody else? Okay. Jazara, what part you don't understand yet? All I did was draw 2 straight lines and label it. Which part you don't understand about that? Let me know. Because me ain't do nothing yet. All I'm asking is if you understand and remember that you always start off by drawing your 2 lines for the axis. Okay?
Oh, yes, yes, I understand.
Okay, good. All right, so now let's go to the scales. You get 2 information from the scales. What is the 2 information you get? It tells you how to space the lines. Everybody agree with me? That's what this 2 centimeters represent. How much space is each line? And 5 units tells us what number we're counting in. Before we were counting in ones and we were counting in twos. So here on the X-axis, what are we going to be counting in? Obviously, we're going to be counting in 5s because every line going to have 5. Everybody with me so far? So focus on one thing at a time. So the first thing that we always do is find where we should put our lines. So my question to you is, you know that in the corner here is what? 0. Should my first line be the first box or the second box? That's the question. Everybody, let's go. On the X-axis is what we're dealing with first. So it tells us 2 centimeters. Remember, 2 centimeters tells us where to draw our line. Do we do first box or second box? Everybody answer me. Only Shadanya has answered. Everybody think for yourself. What do you think? Very good, because keeping in mind that 1 centimeter is 1 box. So 2 centimeters is going to be 2 boxes. So that means how we draw our line is every 2. So that's the first thing you do. So we're going to put out all of our spacing. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we stop there. So everybody understand how we find the spacing? So that's what the 2 centimeters tells us. It tells us how much boxes to put our space in. So everybody, if you got it, say got it. If you don't got it, say don't got it. Let's go. So Tevanik, Jazaro, Elisha, Sanjay, Tiandre, Kimberluska, Mariska, Keo. All right. So I hope everybody with me now. And now, what does the 5 units tell us? The 5 units tell us what numbers we're counting in. So it tells us 5 units. So that means that what number should I write here first? Let's go quickly. Challenge yourself. So what's the first number? Excellent, 5. What's the next number? Somebody, anybody? So what's the next number? Excellent, 10. Very
Then
good.
you got 15, 20, 25, and 30, miss.
Very good. That's it. That's it. So everybody understand how to apply the scale to the axis. So let's go to the second one now. So we did a good job with the x-axis. Let's look at the y-axis now. What you realize is that they gave us the same spacing. So for the y-axis, because this happens a lot, they might tell you use the same scale for both axes. But here, even though it has the same space, does it have the same scale? No, because before we had to count in 5s, but for the y, what we need to count in? We need to count in 10s. But what do we always start off with? We always start off with our spacing, which is given to us by the centimeters measurement, because we know 2 centimeters need 2 boxes. And this is why you need the specific graph paper. If you don't have this graph paper, how will you know what is 2 centimeters? Everybody check what I'm saying? All right, so there we go. We know 2 centimeters mean 2 spaces. So let's first, we do our spacing. Do not ever start off with your numbers. Start off with your spacing. After you have your spacing, you look now at the units. And the units tell you how to number your line. So we're counting in 10s. So that's 10, that's 20, that's 30, that's 40, that's 50, that's 60. Everybody see that? Okay, now that we have an idea of how to label our graphs, and keep in mind, this is going to be standard across the line, especially with the line graph. If you don't have your scales correct, your diagram or your graph is going to be incorrect. So out of 10, how do you feel about scales? Because again, I need to make sure that y'all could scale before you plot. Out of 10, let's go. Okay, that's not bad. Obviously, when school open, one of the first things we're gonna do is just focus on you guys drawing your own scales. So like I said, try to get your graph paper as soon as possible, because I would have sent you some practice questions, but I don't know if you have graph paper already. And so Let's try for next class. You think y'all could get graph paper by next week, Tuesday? Would that be too much to ask? So see if you could get your graph paper by next week, Tuesday. And then so we could do some practice, okay? It's not mandatory. It would definitely be mandatory for next when school open. But I'm just gonna ask you to try to get it for next class. All right, so now that we have identified how to draw an axis, I need you guys to remember how to plot a point. So anytime you have a point always has, let me don't use point. Let me don't use X. Let me use point A. If I give you a point A always has two coordinates, an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So X, Y coordinate. What does that mean? That means it has a specific location on your graph. So if I want to put point A somewhere, so let me put point A, let me find it. Let me put point A right here. So that's point A. So let me zoom in. We know point A has a coordinate. It has an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So let's see if we could find what the X and Y coordinate is. How do we find the X coordinate? Which line should we look at? We should look at the X axis. Agree or disagree? So we need to look and see. I think I draw my point a little too big because it doesn't gonna spread out all over. So let me just fix it and put it here. So that's point A right there. So step one is to figure out where is the X value of the point. So you will come down, straight down to see where it connect to. And where did the point connect to on the X? No problem, Kia, no problem. What's the value of our X for the point A? Exactly. So who always comes first? This is something you need to know too. The X always comes first and then the Y. Everybody see that? So what should I write first? I should write 5 first. And I want to ask y'all without telling you, what would be my Y? Excellent. Excellent, Kurdanji, 10. So that is point A. This is the coordinates of point A. And keep in mind, what does the coordinates mean? It just means what is the value of the X? What's the value of the Y? Where's the point located? So if somebody say, find the coordinates of this point. It just means you need to find the location of the point by identifying what is the X and what is the Y. Everybody understand? So I'm going to give you a challenge and I'm going to give you some other points and I want you to tell me where you think it's located. Okay? So let's try this one here. Let's call this B. What is the coordinates of B? Keeping in mind, I want y'all to realize this. Coordinates are always represented using the brackets. You always have to put the brackets, X, comma, Y, close brackets. Okay? But your values are correct. Everybody see why they get 15 and 30? Please, all those persons who send in answers after, send me the correct thing with the brackets. So let me just put this here because sometimes it would give you the coordinates on the graph. So you would put 5, 10. So what would B be? B would be, let's look at where the X is. And don't ever be afraid to show your lines, right? You just use your dotted lines, your broken lines. So you bring it down. You do your broken line come down. Where did it connect to? 15. So my X value is 15. Keeping in mind that the X value always comes first. And then let's go across and figure out where does our B line stops. It gone straight to 30. So our answer is 1530. Excellent job. I'm going to give you guys a more challenging one now. So try this one for me. Let me see if anybody could get a. What is this one? And I'm gonna call this C. What is the coordinates of C?
Miss.
Yes.
X is 10 and C is 45. And B is 45, I mean. Y is 45.
Okay, that's your answer. What everybody else think? I'm not gonna say if it's right or wrong yet. I want to make sure everybody could figure it out on their own. Jazara, how you get 30? You know what I mean? That means you're not paying attention. We're doing C. So let's see if you guys are right. So thank you, Sanjay, for sharing what you think it is. That's no problem, Z. Let's see. So we're gonna always find who first. We're always gonna find the X first, then the Y, and then we're gonna represent it in brackets. So we're gonna come down. Sometimes you may have to use your ruler to see, but this connects to 10. So this is 10, which everybody has. So excellent job. We'll put my brackets in black. No, a lot of students just get kind of frazzled because they realize that the point A drop on top of the mark. How do you know that each dot represents 1? Because obviously, you have 10 between 40 and 50 is 10. So then you have to decide, oh, ma'am, if everything between 40 and 10 is 10 and we got 10 boxes, that means every small box is what? 1. Everybody realize that? And so because it's halfway, this has to be then 45, because this would be, let me zoom in some more because I need y'all to understand this, because I'm going to change up the scales and see if y'all could read it. So this will be 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So that's how you would get 45. Let me ask y'all a question though. You know what? Let me leave that for now until we get back to school. When we get back to school, we do the rest of it. So I'm just going to leave that there for now and make sure y'all understand. Okay. So everybody okay with that? 45. So everybody should be able to plot point. Do you think if I gave you a coordinate, you'd be able to plot it on your own? So let's say I gave you, let me see. Suppose I gave you 2560. Suppose I tell you plot point P, and point P is 2560. What would you do to plot this? Which one you will go look for first? Do I look for 25 here on the y-axis? You look for 25 on the x, right? So you look for the 25 on the x, which is here. So that means we're going straight up. Let me draw this over. And how do I know how far up to go? How much should I go up until I reach where? Exactly, because we know that our y is 60. And so wherever those two lines meet, that would give me my point P. So P would be right here. Okay, so that's how you draw. This is how you read. All right. Now, since we know now how to plot points, how to identify points, let's now look at what we need to do for a line graph. Okay, so let's just read this quickly and we're going to end here. Okay, we're going to end at the line graph today. I wanted to push a little bit more. What time it is, guys? Because my phone just died. I don't know why it died, but it's dead. It's like dead. This one, 102, so I have 30 minutes. Why my phone not charging? Anyways, that's okay. All right, so let's do the line graph. And all right, so let's go. A graph that shows information that is connected in some way, such as change over time. So these are the different ways you can use a line graph. Not important, but this is the most important part. All right. So usually, based on this example, let me zoom in some more. Can you guys see? Maybe I zoom in too much. Let me zoom out again. Okay. Okay, can everybody see? Okay. So here we see, what do you realize here? We have two scales, but in this diagram, what do you realize that they use on the x-axis? What scale they use? They use days. So every line represents a day. So you got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay, and let me show you how you know how to label your axis. So look, it says here, x-axis, days, y-axis, and this is what we would call frequency. So it tells us how much things happening on that day. Everybody with me? No, they didn't focus on scales because they just use, what scale did they use here, guys? For the y-axis, x-axis, because you need to be able to determine that as well. What scale did they use? 1 centimeter to how much units? 1 unit, in it, because 1 centimeter represented 1 day. No, let's look at the y-axis. What is the scale for the y-axis? How much centimeters? Only Jazara tried. So if we saying from here to here is 1 centimeter, right? And how much spaces, how much boxes did they use for each number? In one, they're saying 1 centimeters here. So it would be 1 centimeters, but how much units? What is the units they used here? Guys, hello? Jazara, where did you get 20 from? Guys, look at the numbers on the line. Every line has a number. What scale did they use? Thank you very much, Sanjay. And whoever, Tevinik, stop writing on my board.
Teacher, that was a mistake.
I see. Only one person gave me the correct answer, but what happened to everybody else? Y'all tired? We almost finished. Let's finish strong. What is my scale here? Each box represents how much? And I'm not continuing until I get more answers. Hello, let's go. Look at the diagram and tell me what is the scale? What numbers are they counting in? You see 5, 10, 15, 20. What is the scale? And this is the next issue I have with you guys. When you're unsure, y'all don't even try. Y'all say nothing. You need to try and use your brain and think and stop being afraid to try. Exactly, that's it. That's the answer. Because when you look at the scale, you have to just identify what number they're counting in. And if you're going to see 5, 10, 15, 20, what are they counting in? It's just 5. So what will I write here? 5 units. That's it. Everybody see what I'm saying? If you don't understand the scale, you cannot understand the graph. That's why I'm putting so much emphasis on making sure y'all understand the scales. All right, so suppose you were given this table here. Would you have been able to plot this graph? So let's take it one step at a time. So you got 4 things, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So you have your day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. You have your scales 5, 10, 15, 20. So for day 1, how much would you have to go up? So day 1 is on the X, and on the Y axis, you have to go up how much? You have to go up by 3. So that's what it did. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So that's the first point. So we plot the first point. Everybody understand how I get the first point? Please confirm. So there we go. Day 2. Day 2. So I go by day 2 on the x-axis. And how much do I go up? I go up by 4. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put my point for 4. 0.2. So I take this off. I don't plot that. Plot point number 3 is day 3. How much do I go up? I go up 12. So I go up all until 12 and I put my point. Same thing, day 4. How much do I go up? I go up to 15. What type of graph is this? This is a line graph. So that means, what is your final thing to do? You take your ruler and you connect each, let me use black. You take your ruler so you could see the difference between the points in the line, and you connect each point. Everybody see that? So tell me the truth. If I were to give you a table, would you have been able to plot a line graph by yourself? Based on what we learned today, or we reviewed today? So what was step 1? Step 1 is draw your axis. Only thing I don't like about this, they didn't label we X and Y axis, right? For me, always make sure you label your axis. So you got X. Even if you just put X, I would accept that. But always label it. So you know this is your X, and you know why it does. It helps you remember where to look for your points. So this is your X and your Y. You got your scales. So they gave us the scales. So this was 5, this was 10, this was 15, this was 20. Then you follow the data. So day 1 was 3, day 2 was 4, and then you connect your point. What is the one thing we're forgetting? Every single graph always have a title. You get 1 mark for your title. How do I know how to label a graph? You use the information for the table. What does this information represent? Questions I got correct. So even though they put facts, you don't go make up your own word. Use the same information. So questions I got correct. Everybody see that? So I'm going to do a checklist and I need y'all to copy down this in your books. So when drawing a line graph, and that's where we're going to end today. When drawing a line graph, this is what we need to do. What is step 1? Let me see if you are remembering what's following. What is step 1? So somebody, you could either put your mic on and
Draw your axis.
thank you very much. Excellent job. So step 1 is draw and label your axis. Draw and label axis. What are we labeling the axis? What should we label the axis?
X and Y.
Excellent. X and Y. Very good. So that was just Zaro. What is step 2? Somebody else. You could type it or you.
Units.
Excellent. Draw your scale. Draw your scale. And so we know that is the units and the centimeters. Everybody with me? Very good. Step 3. Let me see. Step 3. What is step 3? What did we just do here after we done do all of that? We plot the points and we understand how to plot the points, right? How do we plot the points? Who did we plot first? Who did we find first? So you plot the points. Somebody else plot points. How did we plot the points? Who came first? Excellent, Shadanya. So you find X first and then find Y. Find X first, then find Y. And what is the final step to a line graph? What is the final step? What do you do after you? Okay, you draw, connect each line using what? What type of line we're going to use? Connect each point using what type of line, guys? using a, do I use a wavy line? Do I use a zigzag line? Do I do a freehand? Do I just
Straight
take
line.
a straight line? And that means what must you use? You must use a ruler.
Ruler.
Okay, so copy this down, and that's it for today's class. We're gonna do a quick recap of everything, and then that's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it today right there. So just a quick reminder, when drawing a line graph, step 1, draw, label axis X and Y. Draw your scale using the units and the centimeters. Step 3, plot points. That should be points. Points. How do you plot points? You find the X first, then you find the Y. And the last step is connect each point using a straight, that's supposed to be a straight line. Straight line. Okay. This should be revision because we did this already. Okay. But this is us now just being more specific, because the graphs that you guys will be drawing is more advanced. And so you have to be able to make sure you can get all the information in and get it in correctly. So let me know when you guys are done. All right. All right, so what I need to know now is I need some feedback from class today. How you feel about class today? Did you learn? Was it engaging? Did you understand everything that we did today? So you can send it to me directly in the chat, or you can send it to the group. Okay, everybody leaving class feeling okay and feeling strong about what we did. That's important. Very, very important, because I don't want us to feel like we're not making effective use of our class time. No, I'm just gonna scroll through what we're gonna be doing next week. I'm so sad that it's like 1 week, 1 class. Like, I don't know why. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. So here's what y'all want me to send y'all this document so y'all could have it to look through, so that even when we come next class, you could print it out if you want.
Yes.
You could print it and staple it to your book. So you see here, we got a pie chart, we got the examples. If you don't have a printer, you may have to write it out, but this having everything, okay? So I'm gonna send it to you guys in the chat. So that means next week, don't tell me do that. Tell me do that, please, before I bust your face. So yeah, as I was saying, that's okay. I'm just joking with you. So pie chart is what we're gonna be looking at. Yeah, I know we definitely need to do some work with this, because y'all were super weak last year with pie charts. But then, you know, bar graphs is easy. Histograms, pretty straightforward. And then y'all remember mode, median, and mean. So please read through this handout. Okay. Next class, I'm gonna give you all a challenge. So everything here, mode, median, and mean, tally chart, everything is here. And then the topics that will be new. What do you mean, Shadanya? You see? Oh, all of that's in the beginning. So all of this in the handout. You're gonna get all of this. So you're gonna get all of this. Let me just zoom out. So you're gonna get the whole thing. So you're gonna get the beginning part, you're gonna get what we did with the discrete and the continuous, all of this I can send you. So again, you can print it out and have it for your notes. Like I mentioned before, this is just the basics because I'm gonna show y'all what I have to teach you that you don't know yet. So this is like our revision stuff. What we have to learn is way more complicated. So if you have a quick second, let's go. I just want to show you. I've been teaching my private classes so don't worry about the scribbles. We have to do probability. Y'all never did that before. We have to do frequency tables and how to calculate stuff from the frequency tables. Y'all already know how to find the mean, mode, median. But what y'all don't know is something that looks like this. Y'all ever see anything like this before? With something from 3 to 7, y'all ever see details like this before? No. So this is what I have to teach you guys. And this is called grouped data. So we're gonna be learning something called ungroup data, ungroup data, and grouped data. Okay? Don't stress it. Hey, stop being a punk. Stop being a punk. Stop being a punk. If you're done telling yourself that, it's going to be hard. Statistics is the easiest subject. It just looks like that, but it's easy. And if you trust me, you know I'm going to explain it for you to understand. So stop panicking. Okay? So here's what I think. And let me know if what y'all think about this suggestion. You should read through these things on your own because these are things within a second form. So like pie chart, bar graph and histogram and mode, median and mean. Is that a fair request for me to make? So that when we come next week, me ain't going through this again because this is easy stuff since I'm sending you the handout. What y'all think? So we could start on the new concepts. How y'all feel about that? You miss school? You mean you miss your classmates? All right, talk to me because remember it's your learning. So your job, this is your homework. Homework is to print and read through this handout. Print and read through handout. All the examples there, I got some practice questions and the answers, so read through it so that next week we could just go through the new content. Please confirm if you agree or disagree, because if everybody disagree, ain't gonna make no sense. Yeah, you could print it. If you can't print it, you might have to write it out. So you could use your time, take your time, maybe write out 2 pages a day, but you need to have it. So it's up to you. You could print it if you want, or you can write it out if you want. Okay, so that sounds like a good plan to me so that we can start doing the information that we don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna WhatsApp you guys this document now, and I'm also gonna post it on MS Teams. That's it for today's class, guys. Big up yourself. See you next week. Tuesday, message me if you have any questions or need any assistance with anything. See y'all next week.